do Leilu Nishmat and we make Bracha B'Samim, it's extra. Shlomo Melech writes in Kohelet, everyone wants to go to a party, to a wedding, to a party, and sometimes you have to go to the house of the Shiva. What's better? To go to the wedding, to the party, or to the house of the Shiva? So Shlomo Melech says, Tov lechet bet ha'avel milechet el bet ha'mishta. It's better to go to the house of the Shiva than to go to a wedding. Because when a person goes to a wedding, they forget about life. They party and they this and that. They don't take life serious. But when a person goes to the house of the Shiva or presented with this, then they look at life in a more serious way, in a more positive way. So it's not supposed to make a person chas v'shalom sad or worried or anything. It's supposed to help us value life and make better decisions with every day that we have. So it's a very, very good thing, and that's in the real sense the real cause of the neshama to get elevated in Shamayim is exactly this: is when we put our heart that life is passing, and let me make smart decisions. And if I do this because of this neshama, so this neshama gets credit for everything that I do. And it's so I'll introduce myself a little bit. My name is Rav Avshi, Rav Avshi, Weingut from Tzfat, from Israel. I live in Tzfat. I was born and raised in Tzfat, Daughter of Hashem, and still living there. And Kadosh Baruch Hu brings me here to Mexico from now time to time to meet all kinds of special neshamot and make all kinds of special relationships. So I think we can take this opportunity maybe to have any questions, if anyone has anything in discussion. I didn't prepare anything to talk. I don't make classes, like there's enough. I could open a sefer and talk now for 2 hours, 10 hours if I want. But I'd rather have interactive and have questions and deal with real life Torah versus like what I prepared. So if there's anyone that wants to ask any questions or discussion, they're great.
We were not ready for that either.
That's the element of surprise. It's good.
It's good, yeah.
¿Alguien quiere preguntar?
¿Yo? ¿Qué
Empieza y ahorita empezamos.
Teenagers will have questions anyway. When you get older, you start having questions.
I would like to know something about the reincarnation.
Please ask.
You tell me. It exists?
Gilgul. Reincarnation. Good, fantastic topic. Gilgul exists, of course it exists. Oh, it exists. There's I don't know what in the world reincarnation is, what people value, but Gilgul, the topic of Gilgulim, is brought in the Zohar many times, and the Ari Kadosh has actually from his 8 chapters that one of the Sharim is called Shar Gilgulim. There's a whole, you could study this for a long time, but in a nutshell, to explain what Maze Gilgul, what is a Gilgul, what is a reincarnation, why does it happen, how does it happen? The neshama, before it comes to the world, neshama is chelek Eloha mimal mamash. It's an aspect of Hashem. In the Kabbalah, it's called the Daughter of Hashem. Obviously, there's no daughter. We're talking so the physical could understand. So there's a relationship, father-daughter. So understand that also in the heavens, there's a relationship like that. What is the relationship of a father and a daughter? A tremendous love. Tremendous love. The king and the princess. Oof. Amazing. Even the wife is jealous sometimes. Right? But this love can't give birth. It is what it is. Can't give birth. In the Kabbalah, this type of relationship is called back to back. Achor ba'achor. That means it's a great connection, but that's how it is. It's a natural connection. You never did anything for it. It is. On the other hand, a husband and wife are 2 individuals that are born in different places, never met each other, And one day, find each other, fall in love, and give out. So beautiful. That relationship has kids. That relationship could give birth. That relationship in the Kabbalah is called panim bepanim, face to face. That means that it wasn't a natural relationship that I was just born into. My father is the king and I'm the, no. I chose you, I recognize you, you chose me, we understand our values, we're going to live together. Okay, that's a relationship that gives birth. The neshama, before it comes to the world, we compare it to the first stage. She's called a daughter. The great relationship and really enjoys everything and everything's amazing, but she can't go higher than her place. She can't really choose anything because that's the relationship. It can never change. Hashem says, I want the neshama to rise and to become something that she was never before. So I'm going to create a physical dark world. And everything that exists in all the worlds, I'm going to make a microcosm, a tiny, like in the building, office buildings. If you have a big 40-floor office building in your building, you have a little model. Or if you buy a Porsche, they give you a little one. That's how this world is. It's a microcosm of everything that exists, physical. And Hashem says in the Shema, you're going to go into that body. You're not going to see me. You're going to forget about me. You're just going to see physical bodies and things and oof. And then the Shema says, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I want to be here. It's so good here. But Hashem says, no, I love you so much and I know your potential of our relationship. I know what you're capable of. Trust me, the only way we can take this further is if you choose me. And you can't choose me here because you're my daughter. You can't choose me. You have to go into the world. You have to live in a body where you're going to totally forget about me. You're going to be surrounded with people that say, what's a soul? What's Torah? What's this? Nothing. Let's have fun. Let's party. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's make money. That's what all the world is going to be. And from there, you're going to remember. You're going to recognize who you are. And you're going to say, Ba'olam, I trust you. I believe in you. I'm going to try to keep your Torah, your mitzvot. And you're going to turn to him face to face. And that's the marriage that happens. What if a person doesn't do that? Now I'm getting to your answer. A person comes to the world, and in Olam HaSheker, this world is called Olam HaSheker, it's the world of lying, because the whole illusion, it's not really a world, it's an illusion of a world. Really, there's only Hashem. So we go into this illusion. This world is a temporary illusion, 70, 80, 81, it's an illusion. Then you go back to your original, as you go back higher. Now if you go back, they sent you here, and they said, go and choose the Creator, understand the relationship, understand what Am Yisrael is, understand what Torah is, understand who you are, understand who we come from. I'm sure that everyone here has grandparents and great-grandparents that were great tzaddikim. Not a doubt in my mind. In Syria and Lebanon, these people were tremendous, mekubalim and tzaddikim and kedushim. Person comes into the world and they forget about it. They get caught up in the physical. Chas v'shalom, they live, they leave the world. They leave the world, they want to go up. You say, what do you mean go up? You didn't do what you came. You came to do a mission. In a good case, where the neshama didn't make horrible choices, it could just enter another body. That fits exactly, only Hashem knows this. It doesn't just enter, nothing happens. Hashem puts it in. And that's why it's important to bury a person right away, because you can't start the Gilgul till the body's buried. In a not good case, where the neshama made selfish and horrible choices, in other words, acted like an animal, Hashem made a whole hierarchy of animal kingdom, a whole hierarchy of vegetable kingdom, and a whole hierarchy of still life kingdom. Why? All of these are vessels to contain souls that drop to those levels that have to then rise back from there. So if a person will behave like a dog, so to speak, then when he leaves the world, that's his behavior, that's his form, because you're a spirit. If you chose life and you chose humanity, you became that, then you go into the body that you created. But if not, where are you going? So you have to go back to that horrible level of choices, recognize the truth. You live in, let's say if you chose a dog, if a person that speaks Lashon Hara, for example, מתגלגל בכלב. They don't do tshuva. That's why the tongue, the dog looks like this. Shows everyone his tongue. He's showing everyone, look what I did. Look why I'm here.
My God.
So then if a person, then he has to go into that, he has to go into the level of dog.
No, por favor.
He has to live in the level of dog for whatever the time is of his punishment. He has an angel with him the whole time that's reminding him of his punishment and why he's there. And sometimes if that soul didn't break Shabbat, then on Shabbat they could have a break from the Gilgul and go up to Gan Eden and then go back to that body. There's a whole world over there. And once they live in that horrible reality that they brought themselves to, and they rise above it, then they could rise above it. So that's why the importance of saying brachot on food. Very, very important. Because what's food? It's these three dimensions that I told you. It's animal life, the vegetable life, and the still life. That's the food. So when the Ben Ish Chai and all the tzaddikim, the regular speaks about this, then when we eat food, so that's the main process of the neshamot, because the neshama has to go up. So let's say many neshamot are in water. Many neshamot have to come up. So now you drink the water. This water has to go up 4 levels. It has to become a plant, has to become an animal, and then a human. It could skip. I could just drink it, and then it goes up all levels. Meaning that a human being is a ladder. He's the only ladder that's connected to all the dimensions, and through him the dimensions could be elevated. An apple could become a human. A cow could become a human. So when you eat food, I'm going to scare you a little bit with that's what Ariya Kadosh says. You asked. It says, O dodo o ben dodo yigalem. It says in the parasha, or your cousin or your cousin-in-law, someone will redeem you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does a chesed with the neshamot that he brings them back to the relatives. So the relatives are more rachmanut on the soul, so they'll be more careful with brachot, and then the soul could go higher faster.
Sorry, so when they go higher, they come back and become a human again, or?
No, when the neshama goes back, when the neshama leaves this world, every thought, speech, and action that you do creates a reality. Everything.
¿Nos pueden decir en español, por favor? A ver, ¿qué? Es tan.
I can translate that.
A ver, let me
translate.
Okay.
Más o menos la idea.
O sea, cuando alguien se muere, se convierte según los pecados que tuvo en su
O sea,
vida.
su alma, como se va su alma.
Se queda o en el mundo hay mundo de los animales, mundo de las verduras y mundo del agua, ¿no?
Sí.
Naturaleza.
Todo es naturaleza.
No, es como las piedras.
Entonces, dependiendo
Mineral.
los pecados que hizo, se va quedando en esos mundos como para purgar sus pecados. Hasta que, y tiene un ángel ahí recordándole todo el día. Lo que dijo de la lengua es que cuando hablas mal de alguien, te conviertes en un perro, porque el perro trae la lengua de fuera, y entonces todos ven que fuiste chismoso y hablaste mal de la gente. Y tienes un angelito recordándote todos los días, es que hablaste mal, hasta que ya como que procesas y medio te arrepientes y purgas el pecado, ya subes, y entonces ahorita le preguntan que si después regresas.
So when he finishes his tikkun, it depends on what's going on, like it depends on what's happening in his life. If there's 1 tikkun, maybe there's 2, maybe there's 10, maybe there's more. There's a lot going on. The soul can go up if it's not clean, 100%.
No puede subir el
But
alma
once
si no está completamente limpio.
He comes back as a person, as a
It
human.
depends on if the best way. The best way is to finish your tikkun in this gilgul.
Que termines tu
Rectificación
misión.
aquí. Okay, and one
Finish
more.
your mission here.
So what about the Kaddish? Why do they have to?
The Kaddish is because the first 12 months, the soul, even a soul that could go up, can't go yet. You have to realize something. When a soul comes into this world, it travels a very, 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 very long distance till it reaches the physical dimension. This body it's like imagine taking something that's 1,000,000 kilometers and fitting it into a needle. How painful that is. And how many levels it has to go down.
Okay.
More than that. It's more than that.
Okay. So,
In order for so the neshama comes down, and then the same way you see that there's a process in the levaya, the same way like a wedding, right? In a wedding you have the chuppah, and then you have the 7 day sheva brachot, and then you have the first year. It takes time. You don't get married in a second. Why? Because you're really merging with another reality, and it takes time. And it doesn't happen in a minute. We're human beings. The same thing. When you come into the world, you go into the body, and your identity becomes your body. You think you're a body, and also when you die, you think you're a body. If you die that way, because that's what you think you are. It takes time for you to realize what you're not. So the first 7 days, the soul goes back and forth from the grave to the house. All the time, because that's what he's used to. So that's why we cover the mirrors, we have the candle, all the halachot of the house of the Shiva. After that, he realizes, hopefully, that he's dead. And then it starts going up. And it takes 12 months, it's like baby birds. It takes them like time to fly. They can't fly right away. They have to first go out of that stage. And that year is a very, very important year for the neshama, and it needs the help of everyone around it to help it with so Kaddish. What's Kaddish? Kaddish, if you look at Kaddish, there's nothing in Kaddish about a dead person. Nothing.
No.
I highly recommend that whoever's saying Kaddish should take time to learn the words of Kaddish. The tefillah of Kaddish is one of the most important tefillot that exists. And it's a deep cry from our nation to the creator of the world. Itgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Please make your name known and famous and big in the world. We don't want you to hide anymore. We want the ultimate is that mankind should, from this world, choose to have that face-to-face relationship, and that relationship with the King of the world will be here in the physical dimension, not there. The mankind is going to purify the physical dimension, that the Creator will be here with us, revealed here. That's the ultimate. And that's what it says in the Navi. Itgadalti v'itkadashti. Itgadal v'itkadosh comes from the words of Navi, where Hashem says, after the war of Gog and Magog, after all of the nations of the world come to Yerushalayim to attack Israel, and then Hashem does the showdown and wipes them all out there, Gog and Magog, then Hashem says, Itgadalti v'itkadashti. Then I'll show you how great I am. Then I'll show you my kedusha. So we're asking Hashem, we want that time to happen. Please reveal yourself in the world. Itgadal v'alma dibra kirutei. In a world that you're going to build as you wish. V'yamlich malchutei, and you'll make your kingdom in this world. V'yatzmach purkanei, you'll bring them, the purkan means the geula. V'yikarev meshichem, bring Mashiach. So it's a deep cry where we're looking at this world. We're saying that this is the mission of man. The mission of all man is to purify the physical dimension, to bring the Creator into this world. Vaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad. That's the last words of the story. That's the mission. We have to make it happen here. So every one of us is a part of the team of Am Yisrael. When a person of the team leaves, the rest of the team has to get extra strength because one person left. Now we have to do more to fill the void of what he was doing, because he was doing mitzvot and bringing godliness and being in Indian. Besides for his zchut, us recognizing that Am Yisrael is a team, we're not individuals. We're a nation. We've been a nation, and we have a mission as a nation. And when one of our team leaves, the rest of the team has to work harder and has to try harder. And that year we say the Kaddish, because it's an extra asking of Hashem to reveal His kingship in the world.
¿Y por qué? A ver, pregúntale. Cuando dicen que mueren en sábado, ¿por qué dicen que se van directo?
When people pass away in Shabbat, is there, because some people say they're tzaddikim and they,
was he born in Shabbat?
Yes.
No, born.
No, he wasn't.
Wasn't
Chequé,
born?
no.
No, when was he born?
No, he wasn't born in Shabbat. He was born on,
¿Cuándo
I
nació
think,
Vané?
Tuesday.
Abuelito,
Chequé.
¿qué día fue?
El lunes.
Monday.
Okay. To pass away on Shabbat is a good sign. The neshamot go straight in, and it's a better menucha for the soul to be on Shabbat. Tzaddikim,
Mejor descanso.
Yosef HaTzadik, and David HaMelech, and Moshe Rabbeinu all died on Mincha of Shabbat. That's the time that in Shamayim the souls could go up very, very fast in Mincha of Shabbat.
Que pueden subir muy rápido a su alma.
There's no judgment in Shabbat.
There's no judgment in Shabbat in any world. We have to. You should know that really also that's
Entonces, ¿qué
no
pasa
judgment
con
of
las
Shabbat.
tres elevaciones?
No hay, pasa ahí.
¿No hay? Pasa
Pasa
directo.
There's no like
Maybe-
like what you explained the steps, the animal world, the vegetable, the
Eso es lo que estoy preguntando.
No, that's
in
that.
Shabbat.
That's
No,
otra cosa.
that's
Eso es
always.
otra cosa. es
Ah,
otra
that's
cosa.
always. Eso es siempre.
But there's,
Eso
but
siempre.
there's different
Okay.
attitudes, many different attitudes in heaven based on your attitude in life. Who deals with you? If you were just not, if you didn't care about it, then the angels that are in charge of you deal with you, and it's not pleasant. If you established a relationship with the Creator in your life, you turn to Him, you speak to Him, you try His mitzvot, then you're dealing with Him. You're dealing with Him. It's a much bigger threshold of mercy, and it's dealing with a whole different. It's like it's like speaking to the secretary of the office or the CEO. The CEO can do what he wants. The secretary, she could do what she did. So that's how it is. It depends on the relationship that you have in your life. That's why the Zohar Kadosh says that one of the most important things to do is called Mara de Chushbana. People that have calculation. People that take credit of their life. Right? If you have a business, so you make sure you know what's going in, what are you selling, what are you buying, what's profitable, what's not. If you see an item is not good or something's not good, you'll change it, you'll upgrade it. But with our life, when do we stop to think, what are the choices that I'm making? Maybe I'm making a wrong choice, maybe I'm choosing wrong, maybe I'm following just my desires and I'm not following my intellect, maybe I'm doing things from social pressure and they're not really driven for myself. And at these times where we stare at life in a real way, we look at it real. So a person that takes time every night before they go to sleep, to take even a couple minutes to do a cheshbon nefesh, to see what they did. Maybe I insulted someone that day, I call them, I'm sorry. Maybe someone insulted me, I forgive everyone. Right before we go to sleep, we say, Areni Mochel, I forgive everyone that damaged me in this reincarnation, any other reincarnation. You go to sleep clean. When you do this, that's how sleeping and dying is similar. When a person does this, then they go to sleep clean every night. Also, Hashem helps that when they leave the world, they leave clean. No unfinished accounts with people. Because also, if you have issues with people, they also hold your soul from going up. Because they have claims.
Wow.
They have claims on you. You can't go back. So the Mishpat in Shamayim is emet, emet, emet. It's so true and so just that everyone does know. So the way a person designs their life, that's how their afterlife continues. And the truth is that your afterlife continues in the same path. Same path.
I
Because
have a question.
please.
It's true that the soul forgets its name from earth.
It's true what you're asking that at the end of Amidah, there's, before you say Yula Ratzanim Rapi, there's a minhag to say a pasuk that has the first and last letter of your name. So my name is Abraham. So Ata Hu Adonai Elohim Asher Bacharta B'Avraham. It has Aleph at the beginning and a Mem, so it has Abraham. And this is a segula to remember your name because, okay, if you want to get into it, we get into this. But there's a lot of not simple things that happen. But in the first stages of when a person goes into the grave, the first angels that meet you ask you for your name. That's how it is. And if a person doesn't know that, most people don't know their name because knowing your name is not just hi, my name is Jack. That's not your name. Your name is who are you? What were you sent? What's your mission? Your name is your essence. Were you dealing with yourself? You know your name? What's your name? If you don't know your name, then you can't even start. It's balagan.
Let me just explain him something that you said. Él dijo que en la mirada, en la última frase, antes de decir soy Shalom mi mamá, hay una frase que dice Yul Ratzon Rifi. Acabando esa frase, hay una costumbre que debe de decir un pasuk en
Con tu
donde
nombre, con tus letras del nombre.
nada más la letra que empieza tu nombre y con la que acaba tu nombre. Y eso hace que recuerde tu alma tu nombre. Y entonces él dijo que supuestamente eso, cuando una persona fallece y llegan los primeros ángeles que se topa, los ángeles le preguntan cuál es tu nombre. Y entonces el alma recuerda eso.
Y si no lo dices, no te acuerdas.
And the reason you say the pasuk
No
there,
creo, pero...
the reason why is saying the pasuk there going to help you when you have to leave this world to the next world. So if you look at Amidah, right, when I'm standing in Amidah, I'm standing in front of Hashem. I'm not in this world. Right? We're not allowed to think, act, or speak of this world. It's like Shabbat. I'm with Hashem. It's called Olam HaAtzilut. Now I finished this experience of standing with Hashem. Hashem wants me to live in the world. So we stand in Amidah, and I take 3 steps back, right? 1, 2, 3. Why do we take 3 steps? Well, yeah, there's 3 worlds that we're entering now. So I'm leaving the world of unity, and I'm entering the world of separation. I'm preparing myself. It's again just not 1 second. Prepare myself, separation. Okay, hi, I'm back in the world of separation. Okay?
You need to start
So-
with the left.
So now the same thing. So when you leave the world and enter the unified dimension, that's the place to mention your name, because you're going from one dimension to the other, and you have to know your name. I don't know why.
Why you go back?
Why do you go back?
Yes.
After the Amidah.
Because in Amidah, I'm standing in the peak that I could be. I'm standing in what's called Olam HaAtzilut. You're standing in total unity with Hashem. You close your eyes, according to Halakha. The person closes their eyes, they put their hands on their heart, and they close their feet. According to Halakha, I can't think or address anything in the physical dimension, as if I'm not in this world at all. When I'm done being in that dimension, I can't be there all day, because that's what the Creator made me in this world. He wants me to be involved in this world, right? So then I exit that dimension. I exit that unified dimension, and in my mind I realize I'm back in the world, and go back in the world. So same thing, when you leave the world to go back to the unified world, that's the time to mention your name.
Just before
Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom. Right before Oseh Shalom.
After
It doesn't
the,
be exactly before, but in that area, when you finish the Amidah, before Oseh Shalom. In that zone, you could,
you said this soul enters to another dimension after the year has passed, the 12 months.
correct.
But the soul never comes back.
It depends. If we hope that it doesn't. The soul doesn't. The soul does not want to come back to this world.
does it come back to visit? Really, really. Because you feel it. Sometimes you feel
The
it.
Gemara teaches that Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, who wrote the Mishnah, he was the greatest of the Tanaim. After he passed away, he would come every Friday night to make Kiddush with his wife. Every Friday night. Till one time a neighbor looked in and saw it, and then he stopped coming. ¿Cómo?
Que no es permanente, pero que todos los viernes viene a hacer Shabbat.
They were talking, once it became public news, he stopped.
No, en la
So
mañana.
the answer is
Venía siempre, pero
again,
hasta que lo
the
vieron,
soul,
dijo, ya no va a venir. O sea,
when the soul goes up, it really does not want to come down. Really does not want to come down. Really does
To
not.
visit the family.
No,
Why?
If you know what it has there and what kind of family it's there, it has all the family. You think it's going back to nowhere?
Why the soul?
It's going to his family.
Él dijo que el Dios es el papá y la hija del alma. Y el papá manda a la hija a la tierra, o sea, lo manda a los mundos físicos. Y el alma no quiere, porque está cómoda allá, no quiere venir acá. No sabe a qué viene acá.
Y ya cuando está arriba no quiere volver a bajar.
Entonces cuando pasa, o sea, cuando fallece, el alma está contenta de regresar a su rey, a su Dios, a su papá. Entonces no quiere regresar otra vez, ese es el tema.
O sea, solo el primer año, que es cuando todavía no está...
como que
totalmente-
todavía no
no se
sabe,
acomoda.
estaba acá y todavía no se acomoda que ya no está en este mundo, que está en otro. O sea, que ya está.
Entonces después del año no hay que
Why
molestar.
the soul doesn't
yo creo.
no está jode y jode.
Because for the soul to enter the body, it's tremendous pain. Imagine, I'll give you what it's like. Imagine that you are Albert Einstein. And now you're forced to sit in kindergarten for a year. Imagine how painful it is for that brain that's used to like, and now it's like A, B, C, D. They say your soul is the daughter of the king. He comes to the world, and what do you want? He doesn't want to be here. Imagine the daughter, the queen, the princess. And imagine we do a shidduch. You take one of these, a regular worker, a guy, one of these workers from the field with the princess. shidduch. And he says to her, you know, princess, you're so special, I love you so much, I'm gonna get you the nicest potato in the field. He goes out and he like digs to give her, oh look, my mother would kill for this, he tells her. He gives her the nicest, she's looking at him like, yeah, come on, you know what I'm used to? Anything you show me is nothing. You don't know where I come from. That's why the Shemot of Am Yisrael, even while they're alive, despise the physical world. You know how many friends that I have that partied and partied and partied, and one day they realize the whole thing is nothing. Nothing. They hate it. They start looking for meaning. Life of meaning.
The person who died, he knows before he's gonna die?
No. Sometimes there are cases that there's souls that come to welcome them. They could see souls coming to take them, coming to welcome them. They could see their parents, their grandparents, or different souls of tzaddikim that are. There are stories I've heard of kids that thought their parents were delusional. People told me, like, my parent was okay, everything was good. Suddenly he started talking to his sister. I realized, no, it's. So there's a relationship, they come, and there's the dynamic. So back to your question, if the neshamot come into the world, the neshamot don't want to come into the world. If they must come into the world, first of all, if they could come into the world, not all the neshamot could come into the world. It depends if they have a path to go up, down. It depends where they are. Maybe the neshama is behind this world again, reincarnated. You don't even know. We don't know what's going on. But the neshamot could, in cases, they could come in dreams. Dreams, it's easier for the neshama to come into, because in a dream, you meet it halfway. You're not in a body, so you don't identify yourself as a body, and therefore it doesn't have to go into that dimension. So since you left your physical dimension and you're going higher, so then it's
easier.
It's easier to meet.
So when they come in dreams, they really come? Like when they, yeah?
Well, look, dreams in general is a question. Our dreams, dreams could be your thoughts. And dreams could be real. Dreams can be very real.
But it's not easy to dream with them.
No. And it's not easy. Who's asking us? When you're dreaming, it just happens.
No, but sometimes I want to, my father passed away 30 years ago, and so sometimes I want to speak with him, but I can't.
So, so that's a different topic. You want to go to him, so go to his kevel. Now, going to a kevel after the year is very, very strong. The grave. The tumba. In the kevel, what stays in the kevel? When we bury a person, their body, right? The body that's made, this body is made from this world, and that's where it has to go back to the four elements. They must return, and that's how it is. The essence, once that happens, you realize you never died. You realize that you just thought you were in a body, but like, wow, it's a good thing I wasn't. I didn't die. You realize your body dies, and where were we? So what's left in the kevel? What stays in the kevel? So the nefesh, we'll say this in general because it's Torah and it'll be Leilu Nishmat, even though some will understand or not, but we'll talk about it. We say in general that a person has a body and a soul. It's a very general truth, but more specifically, the soul is not one soul. The soul has 5 names: nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. These 5 names are 5 levels of the soul, where the ultimate level is the yechida. When a person has the yechida, he's not mortal, he knows everything, he's flying in and out, he can enter the world. Superman is like a joke next to him. Tzaddikim, real tzaddikim. When the soul leaves, the nefesh itself, also divided. Each one of them is divided to 5. So the nefesh has nefesh, ruach, neshama, yechida, chaya, yechida, then nefesh. The ruach has, it's called nanachi, then the ruach. Nanachi, it's all the same. So now what stays in the grave is a 25th, meaning it's the nefesh of the nefesh. It's a tiny piece of the soul, not piece of, aspect of the soul, that stays with the body, and that's gonna resurrect the body in Tchiat HaMetim. So when you go to the kever, you speak to the nefesh speaks to the ruach speaks to the neshama, and then it goes up. If you know how to do it, if you know how to speak.
But in the kever remains the nefesh of the nefesh.
Nefesh the nefesh. It's called kista de chiyuta.
Se queda un poco.
Why after a year?
What?
Se queda
Why
un poco
after
de.
a year you have
Always.
to-
Oh no, the first year you don't go to the kever.
Why?
Because I said, because the soul is he's journeying, he's traveling. You can't go up yet.
En la tumba se queda un
It's like
porcentaje de
and
alma,
all
pero
souls.
tú puedes
It's like the first wings that they have. They can't fly. For you, he was an old man, but there he's a baby. He's learning to fly now. First year, so the first year we have to give him strength with the mitzvot and with the good things, with the tshuva, with everything that we good that we do. In his memory, in his inspiration, is all benefiting him and giving him the ability to, giving him the zchut that he needs.
And after a year, you can go every day you want to go?
After the best time to go is Erev Rosh Chodesh. That's when the souls are in the Erev Rosh Chodesh, or on the full moon. Go on the full moon is also good, but Erev Rosh Chodesh the best time to go.
Pero si puedes introversión.
No,
No,
no
yo-
durante.
Es lo que dice, que debes de dejarlo.
Porque no los dejas que
Okay,
se
one piece of the soul stays in the grave, and
Not a piece, it's an aspect.
an aspect of the.
It's like imagine a baby. A baby also has a soul, but it's like as he grows, the soul becomes
I
more.
understand. Now, soul goes up, and then this soul goes into another body or another physical world, or.
Okay, so if the soul completes its mission, it goes back to Olam HaNeshamot. There's a soul world where it stays there and it remains there, it lives there, it does what it did when it was alive. So it's if while I was alive, every day I went to Bet Knesset, for Shacharit, every day you go to Bet Knesset there. If every day I learned Chumash with Rashi, then you go to the Bet Knesset of Rashi himself and you learn with Rashi. Because if you, let's say you were a person that always made peace between people, so in Shamayim, you become a student of Aaron HaKohen. You go learn by Aaron HaKohen in his Bet Midrash. Also the women also have Bet Midrash up there, all the Neshamot. For everyone, according to the style of what they connected to in their life, that's where they go to after.
And what happens if it's not that year and it goes before Yom Kippur?
Okay, well? Whatever the minhag is, do. Whatever the minhag, stick to the minhag.
So el minhag es.
Whatever the custom, do the custom. Because these customs are very deep. They go back to hidden traditions that it's not worth it. Because if you do something wrong and then they don't benefit from it, you want to do things the way they should. You could, from where you are, you could do a lot. From where you are right now.
For example,
One moment.
No, come on.
Was he has a middle of a question?
No, I just wanted to okay, the nefesh goes up and it steals one aspect in the grave.
Correct.
Okay, what happened? This one that goes up, it goes to another body, and in Tchiat HaMetim, there's something related with these souls.
Okay, no. So you're asking a question. You're asking if a soul gets reincarnated in many bodies, what happened? Which body?
If they're related when the Tchiat HaMetim is.
Right, that's a great question.
Tchiat HaMetim es la resurrección.
Right, the soul, the body that you get in Tchiat HaMetim is the body that you finished your tikkun with. So if you like yourself now, go for it.
¿Cómo?
Que la carne es con la última que se logró el tikkun. O sea, cumplió la misión.
But
Es con esa que se reencarna.
when we
Se
understand,
levantan los muertos.
one day when we understand the real nature of the souls, we won't have questions. Because we realize that it's not really a question. It's a question because we don't understand the soul. What is it?
But they're not related.
If the soul elevated the body and did mitzvot with the body, of course they're related. Because the soul couldn't do the mitzvot without the body. And that's why the body gets up and stands up, because the body did the mitzvot. The soul couldn't work without the body.
Why in full moon they are down?
Erev Rosh Chodesh is the best time because that's when in heaven everything is chadash, restarted. So all the souls also get chances. There's all kinds of good things that happen to them. All kinds of aliyot, elevations. The full moon is also a very deep completion. The full moon symbolizes a full merge of the sun and the moon. It's a special time in the heavens. So the souls, they're able to, when there's happiness in heaven, the souls are able to rise. Sorry, you had a question.
No, it's just that I dream more with my grandmother than with my father.
Wow. Interesting.
I don't know, because she was like, wow, my grandmother was
very close to you.
Very close to me.
And she has her name.
And
so you share the nefesh, your souls are connected.
Yes.
Wow,
and every time I make a trip or something, I call her, and I don't go anywhere if she doesn't say Alamak. So you know, I dream a lot with her. I don't know why.
¿Ya viste lo que te dijo? Comparten almas.
Sí,
what is it? Is there a theme in the dream or always something else?
No, cooking. Some with her candies, because she loves to make candies.
So you see her cooking.
Yeah. I don't know why, but that was with the refrigerator and taking out the candies to offer them. Yeah.
Listen, it could be a deep memory and effect that you miss, or it could be a real thing. It's kedai when you see someone in the dream in the morning to give tzedakah for them. Because if they came to us, that means they need our help. It's good to give 3 times 18 coins. 3 times chai, even a small, doesn't make a difference that amount. 3 times chai to give to that neshama, whatever it needs. We don't know, but if they come to us, it's not simple. Because to get here, you don't know how much you have to go. So imagine you're living at the top of a mountain, far, and one night there's a knock and I'm there. That means that I really needed to go. Because otherwise I wouldn't climb this mountain. So if it came to you, help it.
She wants to ask you something.
Please.
If a body doesn't complete their mission, what happened with the other lives when Mashiach comes to?
The bodies that weren't successful, they go back to where they were. The body comes from the earth. The body is, it's true. The body itself is a very tricky, very deep understanding. What is the body really? It's very deep. The body itself is neutral. It doesn't have any will. In your body, you have 2 souls. You have one basic soul that just wants to eat, to sleep, the pleasures. If someone gets you mad, you get upset. If you're jealous, you're jealous. Just like a reactor soul. If you're you're lazy, you're sad. And you have another personality, full soul, a godly soul, an intellectual that doesn't care just about your ego, doesn't care about just eating, cares about intellect, cares about ideals, cares about the nation, cares about bigger things. And the challenge is between us, inside you. So in your body, right? Imagine the body like an empty, nothing, like a house. And in the house, you have 2 people living. One party animal, and one tzaddik. And only one of them can control the body at a time. Never 2 at the same time. They can switch 10 times a day, but only one can be at the body at a time. And both of these entities are both you. They're both you. One is the lower you, and one is the higher you. And what you're meant to do is through your intellect and your thinking, feed the higher you, and realize that the lower you is just immature. Convert it, elevate it, and then together, once they're together, then the person's at peace. Then there's no fight inside of them because they can take turns, because they're really on the same page. So the body is not really a function. You think you're a body because what you're thinking is in your lower soul. You just, when someone gets you upset, or you want this food, just react. But if you notice that you have a higher self that's ideal, that someone's going to tell you, yeah, you could do that, but it's not the right thing to do. So you have that struggle, but you can tell that voice and just do what you want to do, right? So you have that struggle inside it. And the victory really is being mature and trusting your intellect and learning more about these things and eventually elevating yourself. And that's the real way to reach peace in this world. Otherwise, a person's always in that conflict, always. The people that are guilty, and just living with crazy guilt, and they just do everything they could to not think of the guilt. They'll travel the world and do everything they could just to not have 5 minutes or 5 seconds with themselves to notice how guilty they feel inside themselves. So instead of resolving the issues, they run away from it. It's a childish American solution. It's not going to work. Where you could only run, you can't hide. Be a man, be a person, deal with it, understand the reality. Lat. It's not a 1 minute, but lat.
I have a question.
Please.
Since you were born, do you have a soulmate? Like a
Wow,
natural
what a
soulmate?
romantic question.
Si tienes
Alma
una
gemela.
que si
Igual que
tienes-
cambia.
Wait, one question at a time. Fantastic question. And I'll even give you a good answer to that. So first of all, the soul of a husband and wife is one. It's not a soulmate, it's one soul. That gets divided into two. While they're in Shamayim, they already have relations. Before they come into this world, they have a zivug. And then they come into the world. And then they search for each other.
Ahí va ya, acá
Es
está.
un alma completa.
Es un alma que se divide en
O sea,
dos.
desde que estás arriba es una.
Se divide.
Cuando llegas se divide en dos.
Y después
No.
O sea, ya
Arriba,
tienen como
arriba se
relación.
separan. O sea, es una sola que se separan
se
arriba.
separa.
Y que dice el Rav que pueden tener zivug arriba, que pueden tener ya una relación desde arriba, y luego los mandan a lo físico y se buscan entre ellos.
Rav, but can I ask
Y cuando se
something?
encuentran,
Cada quien ya tiene el
Usar
suyo.
Gulim, hombre,
¿Dónde lo puedo?
Yo terme- soulmate. That you can lose your soulmate and get another one. It's not only one.
Right. That's a good question.
A ver, lo que
Good question. She's saying that in Shara Gilgulim, when it speaks about reincarnations,
Shahara el Gulim es un libro de Kabbalah de las reencarnaciones.
so the big discussion there, do women come back as Gilgul or not? It's a big discussion amongst the Mekubalim, if women come back. So, but definitely a woman comes back to the world if her husband has to come back. She comes, she comes back to help her husband.
Si tu esposo regresa,
No, hay una discusión entre los rabinos grandes que dicen que el alma de las mujeres no reencarna. Entonces, está diciendo el Rav que si el alma del esposo regresa, o sea, reencarna, el de su esposa pasada también reencarna.
Porque viene a ayudarle
What I
al
said
esposo.
before, what I answered you, I want to clarify this before. What I answered you is the answer for Nu Neshamot. That means the first time a Neshama comes to the world, that's the order. Now, if a Neshama came into the world already and then has to come back as a Gilgul, so now it can't go back to the same as his original Zivug because he's in Gilgul. It depends what state you're in. You're going to need someone that's going to be matching your trip right now. So if you're in a Gilgul right now, different, so that Hashem has to give you someone and you're a Gilgul.
Gilgul es la reencarnación.
Okay, so then it could be not your, then you could be married to someone that's not your soulmate, if it's not Neshama Chadasha. I mean, it's not, but these things don't really make a difference because when you get up there and you understand what a soul is, you understand that you never had a question.
The souls are male and female, or
So the soul itself has the neshama itself has all the levels. It has it has a male aspect and a female aspect. Yes. Also, the male aspect has a male and female of the male, and also the female has a male and female of the female. Each one is a complete.
What happens with the person, with the people that divorce?
Ay, le iba a preguntar qué
¿That's
dijo?
it?
Let's get a divorce.
All these things these are all the stories of the Gilgulim. Only Hashem knows these things. The Gemara says a princess once asked Rabbi Yosef ben Chalafta, one of the Tanaim, what does the Kadosh Baruch Hu do all day? Great question, right? What does God do? So he tells her, Yoshev Mezavek Zivugim. He is busy with matchmaking. So she told him, that's what he's doing? He's a matchmaker? I could be a matchmaker. She says, you know what? Come to me tomorrow. She goes back to the palace. She calls 1,000 male slaves and 1,000 female slaves. He said, boom, 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 boom. You marry each other. I'm making zivugim. She thinks, well, that's what God does. So in the morning, balagan, a line. She hit me. He smacked me. He cursed me. No, oof. She realized, you know what? It's good that Hashem is doing it. How do I know who to match with? So this is the Gilgulim makes it more complicated because it's not original souls. It's Gilgulim, so you come back. So it depends on what level you're coming back, and And this is a lot of variables. A lot. It's infinite amount of variables. Because if your process right now, let's say for example, needs a certain amount of pain and a certain amount of gain, whatever it is, so someone else that needs that exact amount of pain has to be with you. Because everything has to match with everyone. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the only one that knows all the Gilgulim. And sometimes he'll say, you can't come back right now because your Sfira is not, your Tikkun is not yet. So you'll wait in 10 years, that's when your Sfira will come in. That's when it'll come in the Gilgul. So these are Cheshbon, only Hashem knows these things.
Ya sé que voy a estudiar toda la, pero tradúceme. Yo tengo mi maestra de Kabbalah.
Que si es verdad que cambia.
No. It's true that when that the soul, no, ¿cómo digo?
Soulmate.
That the soulmate can change.
Yes, that's what we just said. The soulmate could change based on your actions. Based on your actions. And when we're talking about based on your actions, it doesn't just mean in here. It means on your actions. Understand, action means in all your reincarnations. It doesn't mean right now what I changed. It depends why I was born again. So if I'm based on my actions, I'm going to need a soulmate to accompany my trip. You know, say my conditions.
What happened with the going souls?
Okay.
Okay, good question.
¿Qué pasa con las almas de los goyim?
O sea, sí, no, pregunté si las almas de los goyim son iguales a los
¿Qué dijo?
It's the same, it works the same way?
No. Goyim, none of these things are by Goyim at all. None of these things are by Goyim. Everything that we're talking about Gilgul is about the Nefesh HaElokit. The Nefesh HaElokit is a neshama that only a Jew has. And to understand it, since this came up, let's talk about this. We shouldn't think that we're just racist and that we think we're better than everyone. Adam HaRishon and Chava, they sinned in the Chet, the famous sin of Adam and Chava, right? And what happened was they mixed all the worlds, all the good and bad that was in the world, they mixed it again. Big balagan. Now, Chava gives birth. After a cursed state, after a mixed state, she gives birth to two, Cain and Hevel. Hevel was what? Cain and Hevel. Hevel was a tzaddik, he was a human. Cain was the Nachash. Cain is Zoma the Nachash. Yeah, and that's why Cain kills Hevel. Because the world is in a cursed state. The whole world will have the Nachash in it. So everything that's going to be born now will be Adam Nachash.
Okay, and where do
Wait, one second, let's get there. Back there. Now, so Adam has these two. So now everyone that's born will be mixed good and bad. Everyone, that means will be born. The rule of birth is that you give birth to what you are, similar to you. Right? We see physically, we see it emotionally, all levels. The level that a person is on when they conceive the child and the thoughts that they have are extremely important for the being of the child. Extremely. So now, this continues, that the whole world, Adam HaRishon gave birth, after he lost his state, he lost his neshama, he lost everything. When Adam HaRishon sinned, he died. Even though we learned he didn't die. But I explained to you before, what's death? That you go from one world of having a full soul to just having a nefesh to nefesh. That's death. Adam HaRishon lost all his spiritual strength. He was left as if a dead person in the ground. That's how minimized he was after the sin. All his spiritual levels left him. Everything. And he gave birth in that state. So everyone that he gave birth in that state was not called Adam, because he wasn't called Adam. So we don't have Adam. You're giving birth, he was giving birth to Shedim, demons, because it wasn't Tzuat Adam. Okay. It's shapes of a person that's not a human. And that's how the world is going on and on and on. 10 generations. And we see that in these 10 generations from Adam to Noach, the world is really, really evil. Yeah. We study about their personalities, we see in the Torah. And we see that in every generation there was one tzaddik, till Abraham, till Noach. Noach, Hashem says, I gave you guys 10 generations, we're wiping out the creation, we're taking a whole microcosm of all existence in the Teva. It's like a little cell, a tiny little cell that had in it every human, every animal, every plant, everything lived in that thing. And we're going to start the world again. 10 generations, From Noach, after Noach came out, again, the world is still in a cursed state. No one rose above the curse. Everyone stayed in the curse. And everyone's giving birth to the same way. Avraham Avinu was the first person to change his DNA. That means that he was born into pagan, horrible culture, where child slaughter and worshipping, all of the worst. And he, through searching, recognized that there must be a truth, there must be a creator. And he went on a deep, deep journey. He fought his father, he fought his family, he fought his king that threw him into the fire. He went on a deep, 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 deep journey till he found the king of the world, till he found Hashem. And Hashem put him to 10 tests to purify his 10 sfirot, to purify his fabric. And on the 10th test of Akedat Yitzchak, where he totally, and then he gives birth, after he has birth to Yitzchak. So that means Avraham Avinu rose above everyone in the world till that point. He didn't yet get to the level of Adam HaRishon before the sin. Then Yitzchak, then Yaakov. Yaakov looked exactly like Adam HaRishon.
Why?
That's what it says. Shufra de Adam, Shufra de Yaakov. He looked like Adam. Why? Because he was the Gilgul of Adam HaRishon, came back in reincarnation in Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Because Avraham was a person that said, I want a relationship with God. He wanted, meaning Adam HaRishon was supposed to do that. God, I want a relationship with you. Instead, he ignored it. So Avraham Avinu rose to do what Adam HaRishon should have done. God, I want a relationship with you. And then he gave birth to his son, and his son continued his way, but in a different style. That was chesed, that was gvura. That means another purification of the soul. Then Yaakov is complete. He changed his name to Israel, and he was Adam. So now everyone that's born from Yaakov will be called Adam. Everyone that's born from anyone else is not called Adam. You understand that? So it's just a physical reality. So therefore, anyone that's born from Yaakov has this extra soul because they took upon themselves the mission to go into the physical dimension and to elevate it. So if you're doing that job, you need an extra soul. You need a godly soul. So that's why Am Yisrael is the nation that took upon themselves to go into the physical, to do mitzvot, to rise up, not to be like everyone, to refine themselves, to be holy, to be special. So Hashem gives them the strength that they need for that. And that's a godly soul, a godly intellect, a godly drive, a godly push. So only a Jew has these things. You understand? And that's the origin of the deep conflict that Jews live in. We live in crazy conflict. Hitler called it guilt. What's that? That's the contrast between the souls. But Goy doesn't have that. The Goy is living his life, whatever it is. They have the basic soul is very sophisticated, very special, but it doesn't have that conflict. It doesn't. It's not on that. It's not its mission. They didn't choose that. And you see that if a person is driven to fix the world and they don't want to be just the regular, then they become a gal, they become a convert, they become the kid of Avraham Avinu. They go back. They become.
If someone gets a conversion, he will get Nefesh Elokit.
Correct. If it's a real conversion,
Yeah.
for sure. If a person decides that Hashem is the king, he sees value in the world, he sees value. If it's a fake conversion of love and money, then you can't fool God. It's not even a question. But if it's a person that's sincere, I live in Spain. You know how many converts live next to us? These people are the most sincere, the most real, the most driven, because they saw the dark, they rejected the dark, and they chose the light. And of course, and they receive the soul when they go into the mikveh. Even they have to circumcise. But the soul comes in when you go to the mikveh. The mikveh is a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous trick. The mikveh is one of the biggest gifts that humanity has. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Why, as a Jew person, we can leave Earth and go to space? There's actually,
Like to be an astronaut. What she's saying is that they say that as a Jew, you can be an astronaut and leave the Earth and go to another.
Who says that?
I don't know. We've heard that.
It's not true.
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you, as a halachic Jew, if you offered me right now a trip to outer space, I wouldn't take it because because every second I have to do shkia mincha, then shacharit, then Shabbat. I want to go to the difficult.
They have to bring 9 other guys.
Yeah, in a minyan, get a bunch of aliens up there. No, leave me here.
Okay, so that's not.
I'm not. You should know something. The culture today is childish. I'm not impressed by NASA one bit. For me, they're a bunch of idiots. I'm not impressed by them at all. I might find much more depth searching inwards. That's impressive. It's much easier to be a big shot, but your life, you're not even looking at yourself. Let's see you go into yourself. Dear Gevel, understand yourself. Go. That's the dimension to explore. Who cares about the stars? They waste billions of dollars in stupidity. Theories is their life. What did you get after that? Nothing. I'm not impressed by childish science. When you learn real Torah, this stuff is a joke. I know more about astronomy than a lot of them. A lot of them. From the Torah. Astrology, for sure, they know nothing. But all this stuff, the Torah has all the wisdom. Everything. And it's real. You feel it outside and you feel it inside. You understand that the planets are all inside of you. All these things are real. It's not just empty external science. It's much easier. Everyone's studying National Geographic. What's under the ocean? What do the sharks do? Where do this? All these things. Okay, it's nice to see, but it's not. If you're focused on your life, it's just a distraction.
Yours.
So, no.
You're thinking of astronauting yourself?
No.
No yet.
And the Leviathan is real.
The Leviathan. Wow, you guys are a great group. Beautiful questions.
Eso todo el mar. Bueno, pero que nos explique
The Leviathan is it's one of the holy myths. It's true. It's not a myth. It's a holy tale that's going to be in the Geulah. I'll explain to you first I'll explain to you first the story, and then I'll tell you the real interpretation. The story is that when Mashiach comes, there's a great feast, and we eat this great fish, and from its skin we make a great sukkah. That stinks like
que
fish.
todos vamos a comer del Leviatán y con su piel vamos a hacer una azúcar.
Cuando venga el Mesías.
Now, obviously, we're talking about feasts at tzaddikim, like they're not excited of fish, not at all. I don't care how big the fish is, how good it doesn't excite them. They're dealing with different levels. Leviathan, the word Leviathan, comes from the word Levi. Levi comes from the word Levaya, right? We're just at a Levaya. What's a Levaya? You escort a person, or if Chas v'Shalom, that's a bad Levaya. But a good Levaya, a guest comes to your house, you walk him out. You accompany him. Why is Levi called Levi? Because Leah, right? Leah Imenu, she had one kid, Reuven. She said, I can handle him myself. Another kid, I can handle my other hand. But when Levi came, the third one, she said, my husband has to join me now. Because I need another help. Apam yilavei ishi elai. This kid will cause my husband to join me. So lelavot, levaya is joining. This world, like we said at the beginning, is an experience of the separation of the souls from God in order to merge. But at the end, it's going to be a merging. And the merging in the Kabbalah is called the Seudah, the eating. Also, a man and woman unifying is called the Seudah. All these things are different codes for unifying, eating. And it's going to be called the Seudah Shel Leviathan. It's a feast of escorting, of lelavot, where we and Hashem are going to walk together. And from his skin, that means from the external levels, that's going to be the protection of Am Yisrael. I mean, it's very, very deep levels that Am Yisrael is going to be joining the unity of God in this world. That's going to be called the Seudah. I'm eating. I feel like I'm eating, like I'm gaining, like I'm connecting. Seudah Leviathan. So these are levels. There's another mystical character called the Shorabah. the great ox, tremendous ox that lives in the mountains and eats. There's amazing, amazing creatures, and there's also fights between. There's all kinds of very special. But this is the Suda Leviathan is going to be the final merging of the Creator and the creation in this world, and the joy of that. And that's the Suda of the Tzaddikim that are going to merit that. For the Tzaddikim, they do that their whole life. So again, realize every effect that you're going to see must be that you did that. Because that's how it is. You create the reality and you follow that reality. So if you see a tzaddik is going to be a Suda Leviathan, that means what was his life? A Suda Leviathan. Constantly wanting to unify the Creator and walk with Him in this world. And then one day he'll merit that, to have that.
I have a question about what she asked of the soulmates. What about when guys were like allowed to have a lot of wives?
To have many wives.
So what about the soulmate?
I don't know how that works with all these things. I really don't know. The depth of these inyanim are the depth of the neshamot really is a big mystery. It's a good question. Actually, I'll look into that. No, really, I never thought of that question. I'll look into it. I don't know. Well, it's not. The original way is to have more than one wife.
I know.
So that is the original way. You have to see how it is. It could be different aspects of the man. I don't know. I have to look into it. See, some of the Avot had second wife, some didn't. Abraham had 2. Yitzhak only had 1. Yaakov had 4.
Yeah.
No?
Now recommended more than 4.
Maybe we're 4, it was divided in 4. Maybe.
But you see, it's different. You see that Yaakov really, when he had his 4 wives, there were different aspects of himself that came out to his kids. Like Yosef had to come from Rachel, and Yehuda had to come from Leah. It's different. Good question.
Steph, pregunta.
No, o sea, pero ya se contestó
He
todo.
has a question. Why do they have to? They cannot shave
And the nails and everything.
for a month after.
Avelut, yeah, that's Avelim. That's a minag Avelim. The real halacha is that Avel doesn't even want to do these things. That's the inyan. But the main inyan of Avelut is lo la'asiach da'at me'avelut, not to remove your mind from the Avelut. That's why you don't go to chatunot. All these things is to keep your mind connected to the person, to the Avelut, because this year he needs you. He needs your mind. He needs your thinking about him. He needs your doing for him. He can't do anything now. So he's counting on the people that love him in this world, the same way he supported, he did, right? So now it's the turn to do for him.
And why women doesn't have to do that? Why women
But do what?
to I don't know, don't go
Women have the
ahead.
halachot of Avelut that they need. Everyone gets the halachot that they need. Women have their own halachot of Avelut.
Okay, what happens when a person doesn't have boys, sons, when they die? Who is gonna pray
Who's
for
gonna
them?
break a dish for us?
It's a balagan. Oh, no, if you try to have kids, if you were married and try to have kids, it's not a problem. If a person doesn't get married, doesn't have kids, it's a balagan. It's not pashut.
But if you had daughters and not sons, and you tried,
You could control what you have. You have son-in-laws. Your son-in-laws are like your sons.
Que tus yernos van a ser como tus hijos.
No, pero no creo que se eche.
I don't know in your case what's going on. I'm talking about in general.
No.
it's our case. We have
Yeah. That's it.
only daughters.
Some people pay for this.
You could pay someone pay a Rav to do kadisha. 100%. It's best if you could do it yourself.
Okay, you can.
If not, you pay someone.
At least you pay somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
De las mujeres no cuenta.
Pregúntale.
No sé. ¿Cómo pregunto?
Woman Kaddish is not. Is it valid or not?
So this is a great topic because feminism is a gigantic topic in the world, and I'll tell you a little bit, like on a little bit of. I think that women wanting to be men is just women not noticing how amazing they are. And not noticing how perfect Hashem is for creating them exactly in that way. If you trust Hashem for creating you the way He's creating you, Hashem knows what He's doing. Hashem put you the way, and if you delve into yourself, that's the way you'll reach happiness. Because if I want what you have, I'll never be happy. Ever. That's what the Mishnah says. Kin'ah, jealousy. There were 10 cases of jealousy in the world. The first jealousy was the Nachash. The Nachash said, I want to kill Adam so I can marry Chava. That was the plan. So or Korach said, I want to be Aaron, I want to be the Kohen Gadol. So the Gemara says, when a person is jealous, what happens? So you're making a statement, what I have, I don't want. So they take it away. And what he has, you're not getting. So you stay with nothing. That's all jealousy follows the same pattern. And it's a chaval. It's a chaval that a woman should want to do. If a woman has the mitzvah, this is how she's fixing the world. Not because Hashem said this. Do them with joy, do them with excitement. Be proud to be who you are, love who you are, and live a happy life. If you're going to try to be someone else, you're going to be miserable. Miserable. And I have friends that are feminists and activists, and when I meet them, they're not happy. They're not happy. They're always trying to be something, and they're always full of complaints and the other stuff. And it's not a happy life. A happy life is trusting the Creator, and He knows what He's doing. And this is my tikkun now. This is my thing, and trying my best, and to love myself, to accept myself, to be myself. You don't have to be anyone else, and you can't be anyone else. Especially not a woman to be a man. Even a man can't be another man.
No, the question the question here is if a woman says Kaddish, is it valid or not valid?
A woman could say Kaddish as a tefillah. Okay. Private, but as a tefillah b'tzibur, it's not. Was it valid or not valid? That's not the way for Kaddish to go up. Meaning, if you want to do things the way they work, it's not how it works. So do them the way they work. We didn't invent the system. We could just try to be the system. But why it is, I don't know. I'll tell you. I don't ask why. Okay. The famous story is a guy. He was 100 years old, right? And the family make him a big birthday. 100 years old. At his birthday, one of his grandkids goes to him and says, Zaidi or Papa, so what's the secret of your life? Why 100 years? So he said, listen, I never asked why. He says, what do you mean? He says, listen, I have friends, they said, God, why this, why that? God says, come, I'll show you exactly why. I never asked why. So he stays here. He said, there's always a good answer for everything. You don't have to know everything. It's difficult, you're right, but one of the things that we can practice on is humility. Because the illusion that you can know everything is absolute ego. And realize that I'm one person, I'm living here, there's a lot going on in the world that I don't know. A lot. As a matter of fact, most of what's happening, we don't know. Even in the physical dimension. Never mind in this world. So be humble. This is how Hashem made me now, with this thing. I'm going to do the best that I can. Some things I understand, some things I don't understand. Some things I don't understand now, I'll understand them tomorrow. Right? The things you understand today, you don't understand 20 years ago. So that's that.
Tú por tu pregunta algo. ¿Qué? Aunque sea en español.
Okay.
Sari pregunta.
It's normal we feel before my grandfather died. Three of us, we feel something. She told me, I feel it's gonna happen.
Something bad is gonna happen.
Something bad.
You felt it?
And I cried. I cry. In the Amidah.
So it says,
I don't know what happened.
the Gemara says in Megillah, the Gemara in Masechet Megillah, the Gemara says that if a person's somewhere and they suddenly get scared, they don't know why. So the Gemara says a couple of tricks. What you should do, you should read Shema, there's some different things to do. But the Gemara says that it's possible for a person to be absolutely scared and to not know why. Why is that? In the language of the Gemara, it's called Afal Gav de Inu Lo Chazu Mazlayu Chazu. Even though they didn't see, their mazal sees. What's the mazal? The mazal is the higher parts of the neshama that are in a person that is even higher than their intellect. You could call it a sixth sense or something, but it's not. It's your own levels that are not yet in your conscious mind. So like as if they're in your upconscious, like you can come back and forth, you could dream about them. It's not yet conscious information. So something could be happening up, and your neshama knows, because your neshama knows everything. That's a part of God. So, but if your neshama was in your conscious mind, then your mind would know also. But since your neshama is not in there, so your neshama knows, but your ruach, the lower parts, feels that the neshama knows something, but it doesn't know what. Because the ruach doesn't know what the neshama knows, but it knows that the neshama is shaking. So she starts getting scared. So that's what it's called. That sometimes a person gets scared, their mazal sees something and they don't see it. You have a sensitivity to it. Sometimes Hashem will make a person. The tzaddikim have these things because Hashem wants them to daven. Hashem wants them to yitpalel, to pray. The reason they know these things is they could feel something and they could go do tefillah.
Yeah, I feel it Saturday morning when I call my mother. Before 3 or 4 minutes before I call my mother, like ¿cómo se dice mareado?
Easy.
And when I call my mom and say, help me, she's screaming me, help me. Your father is inconscient. But 5 minutes before I feel like lazy, like he's, I don't know.
It's a coincidence or?
No, it's not a coincidence. No, it's not a coincidence. The souls. When one of the souls leaves, the souls, you guys are connected, you're close.
Wow.
You feel? Everyone with their sensitivities, they see your sensitivity, their sensitivity.
What means the stone you put on the grave?
So, when they visit, they put a stone. I'm not sure. I heard different explanations, but I never really heard of one that really settled my mind. I think it could either be. What? No. It could be that if Chas V'Shalom the person was chayav skila, so by putting that stone on his grave, it's like a skila.
What?
Skila is a punishment by stoning. In the time of the Bet HaMikdash, there were 4 ways that when the Jewish kingdom was strong and the Jewish court was strong, the Sanhedrin, Am Yisrael was at a very high level. If a person would sin, it would be something that the whole nation would almost know. It was a very high level. And if a person would do a sin, there's different sins that the punishment is death. Now there's four deaths. There's 903 ways to die. That's what the Gemara says. Now Bedin, they were given 4 of those. Skila, Srefa, Hereg, Bechenek. Skila is stoning. That means they take the person, they take him to 2 floors, 2nd floor. They tie a big rock on his chest. They give him to drink special wine with something that makes him like, and then they push him back on his back, and that's how his skila. Srefa is they heat up lead, like a copper, so it's like liquid, and then they bring it down. It burns the inside, the outside stays. There's 4 different ways of dying. So these ways were given to the Sanhedrin. Once people became too not caring about sins, so Sanhedrin stopped punishing at all, because they said, we're not here to punish. The punishments are to prevent, they're not to punish. So the second the people started ignoring the Sanhedrin and doing sins, the Sanhedrin stopped getting the punishment, but Hashem, Bo'olam, meaning if a person is chayav a certain death, they will die in that way. So if a person needs to die by burning, they'll be bit by a snake, for example, which is the same idea. The venom goes in and burns from the inside. If a person needs to die by drowning, so drowning is chenek, instead of strangulation, they'll die by drowning. So there's exact way that the souls have to die in order to. What was your question?
What was the stones?
So the stone that we say that if this person needed skila, they needed stoning. So this stone that I'm putting on the grave is like as if they got stoned. If they needed this tikkun, so that's what I heard once. But that's a clean item. I'm going to look up that and I'm going to answer both of those. I'm going to be in touch with you and give you a better answer.
Pero que no le hace sentido ninguna de las dos. Lo va a investigar y te lo va a decir.
I'm walking out of here with 2 questions. Very good.
Yes, at least.
You have
Yo
more
solo
work.
veo a los abuelos hablando en esto.
Dile que si quieres más.
Okay.
¿Algo más?
אתה רוצה לאכול משהו? הכל כשר, מהדרין.
אני בטוח, אני אפילו לא שואל.
Que está seguro que es kosher.
Confía en que todo es kosher. No preguntes.
¿Qué es eso?
Ahorita privado le pregunto. Ya.
Vas, en privado.
Pero si queremos,
Vas, dile.
todos queremos saber.
Maybe to break the intensity, we should like eat a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Very heavy. Very heavy topics.
She wants to ask you something.
Ya, pero ella quiere sola, déjala.
Sí, luego nos cuenta. Todos queremos saber. Sí, ya. Bueno, no, ya déjame.
Este es un chakra.
Pero ¿por qué no se me dicen a mí si todos están diciendo?
No, déjenla a ella que pregunte ella sola.
Ella quiere con su jajam sola.
Sara, dile que son tus chakras.
Dile que vaya contigo ahí tantito. O allá.
Wine was created to comfort people that are in shidduch.
The people que
בטוח, לא מסתכל אפילו.
בבקשה.
אני אומר לך משהו, אם אני נכנס לבית, אני לא שואל, אני לא נכנס לבית.
תודה.
אני לא צריך את...
Okay, pero qué bonito. No necesita ver.
No puede dudar de ti.
The Gemara says, why was wine created? Why did Hashem make wine? Lenachem Avelim.
No pregunta.
Se la vamos a hacer.
I believe you. I saw it. Both very, very spiritual.
Dice que trae una cosa.
Some people are very spiritual.
Todavía no está.
I have 6 kids there now, 5 and 6 is a very much big one.
La mejor está en Belice. Vas a ir ahí. No, vas a ir a ver.
¿Así? Y así. O sea, porque
No, y sobra, es mucho.
Bueno, explícale.
¿El Johnston? Ahí está, Mago, ahí se cayó el Mago. Ahí está la...
no sé de quién es.
Stephanie. ¿No? ¿Qué?
And when I finish the meal, la last of the book, and I cry like half an hour. Very good.
Ya no puedo.
because culture and society.
Este traes que este cangrejo. De hambre no.
The Torah says that wine was created for Hashem. That's why Hashem made wine. Not for the person. No. But placing your brother in pain. What do I say? Let's drink it. I can't solve your problem. Yes, drink it.
Marcos, Lenny, Jack, Lenny, Jack, Lenny, Jen, Jack, ¿quieres?
Sí, yo también.
Nada más levántalo.
L'chaim, everyone. By the Hasidim, we make l'chaim. We meet each other and we tell each other. There's all kinds of things, all types of stuff happen in the world. But we're gonna live a happy life, a good life, a deeper life. We're gonna take this experience and convert it and transform it into life. L'chaim.
Déjame traerte más.
¿Qué tal el 54 de México? Yo lo estoy haciendo, pero no porque. Ya, llevo 6. Es todo. This is a reminder that I could
I'm ready. You're Russian. I have vodka in my veins.
Es increíble cómo el mundo perdió, o sea, se olvidó de COVID y ahora está en la guerra.
Pero que me empieza a reír. Pero ya no había nada.
La guerra.
Necesitaban muchos negocios mucho tiempo.
Oye, how's it being in